Avatar: The Way of Water is the long 13-year sequel to the highest grossing film of all time, Avatar, back in 2009. The cast brought back from the original film is Sam Worthington, Zoe Saldana, Sigourney Weaver, Stephen Lang, and Joel David Moore, and brings a new cast led by Kate Winslet, Cliff Curtis, and Edie Falco. The film is 3 hours and 12 minutes long. It's PG-13. And this does take place 13 years following the events of the original film. Neytiri and Sam, played by Sam Worthington, this is in Jake, Sam Worthington, and Zoe Saldana. They now have 4 kids. And when Stephen Lang's Quaritch comes back to be a threat, they want to move out of the forest and into the sea with the sea people. That is the story, trying to survive from Quadrich's length. So the film is 3 hours and 12 minutes long and is PG-13. Welcome back to a brand new movie review here at Max Talk. We'll be talking about Avatar: The Way of Water. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe, ring the bell. I do movie reviews, TV show reviews, movie rankings, and a box office breakdown show every week. So please subscribe, ring the bell. We have a lot of box office to talk about for the next month or plus with Avatar: The Way of Water. So please subscribe, ring the bell. Comment down below. First of all, if you've seen this film, did you like it? Did you not like it? Compare it to the first film. Did you like it more? Did you not like it more? Did it live up to the hype? Did it disappoint you? Non-spoiler, I am going to probably do a spoiler review on this movie on Monday. There's a lot of things I want to talk about that I really liked and didn't like about the movie in spoiler fashion, so I'll do that on Monday. And also, if you have not seen the film, let me know. What are your thoughts? Did you watch the first one? Were you about to rewatch the first film? Did you watch it when you saw it in theaters? Let me know all your thoughts, and then also comment down below. So as I said, comment down below as well. No spoilers though, none spoilers. I save it for my spoiler review on Monday, and then please like the video. So from my perspective, I thought the first film was very good, but not great. I felt like it had limitations. It was very much a world building film, the first film in 2009. And it had some really great moments, characters, and just the world building. But for me, the story, some of the cartoonish performances outside of the main cast, kind of dragged, and a lot of the side characters just didn't really work for me in the first film. So I did rewatch it about a couple days ago, leading into this new release, which is just crazy because the first film came out when I was 7, and here I am, 20 years old, and getting a new film in this franchise. And we're going to get one every other year for the next 6 years. So should be very interesting. But let's get into Avatar: The Way of Water. So first off, I really like this movie from start to finish. I do think that there are definitely some negatives, which I will get into. But I feel like this is a very much an improvement over what the first movie set up. Now, they're obviously very similar to the first film. There is lots of setup and lots of world building that has to be had here because our main family is moving from in the forest to the sea in this movie. And there has to be a lot of, again, they have to learn a new way of life. And that's kind of there's now the technology, first of all, is the biggest positive with this movie for sure. The visuals are just jaw dropping. You just can't believe that this is real. I think one of the also the underrated aspects is that all of these characters that are, again, motion capture, they just don't feel like video games or CGI characters. They feel like these actors are actually acting. I think a lot of these cases, some movies, they just feel like these actors are just voicing characters, and these really truly feel like performances, which I'll get into in a bit. And that's something that the technology also gathers, that these are really great performances from start to finish, and I'll get into it in a second. But the visuals are fantastic. I found the sea a lot more engaging than the forest in the last film. Now, there aren't as many landmarks that I think the audience will care about compared to the first film. And there are obviously, from a story point of view, definitely some similarities between the first and the second film. But I felt like it was a lot more engaging, a lot more breathtaking. And I found that the action was one of the biggest improvements. I thought the action was so much better than it was in the first film. I thought the first film really scratched the surface, how to do these action scenes, especially the Na'vi people when they fight the humans themselves. There was a lot of potential there, but you really didn't get a lot of Na'vi, Avatar and Avatar action throughout the film in the first one. And because Stephen Lang's character, who as a human died at the end of the first film, is now, I'm not going to explain to you how he is back in this film, but because he is back as in Avatar, and you'll see why in the movie. We'll talk that a lot more on that on my spoiler review on Monday. There's a lot more Navi on Navi action the entire film, and that is works so much better because I think the biggest problem with that first one was that the humans themselves just didn't feel like threats to our main characters, and I do feel like you will feel that these characters are in danger, especially in that last hour of the movie. And they are very much in danger because you take the villain, Stephen Quadrich very seriously, but you take the situation that they're in very seriously. So that was another huge plus. Let's get into the cast that I've already talked about. Neytiri's always been my favorite character in this franchise, and she definitely takes the biggest back seat. I do want to let people know heading in that, well, yes, Jake and Neytiri are definitely obviously in the movie, and Jake especially is one of the lead characters. This is very much focused a lot more on the kids than it is Jake and Neytiri, which I found was actually a good thing. I'm not the biggest fan of Sam Worthington and the character of Jake Sully, so I think having him in a bit more of a supporting role than the main focus of the movie, I think benefits it. Would have liked to see more Neytiri, but Zoe Saldana delivers again. Again, she's kind of the main reasons why this franchise works is because, she was the person who kind of from motion capture created the way these characters move and things like that. And she delivers a really powerful performance, especially in the last 30 minutes of the movie. Stephen Lang, again, steals every scene. By far the only human character I really grabbed onto in that first film. And he's back with a vengeance in this sequel. And he is a lot more threatening, and not just because he's a Navi, but the tactics he's using. And you feel like he is a threat to our lead characters throughout the entire film. Really liked Cliff. The biggest new addition that I liked was Cliff Curtis. There's two really great new characters. Cliff Curtis plays the leader of these sea people here, and he's very fascinating to look at. Kate Winslet was also very good in the movie, but she doesn't have as much to do as Cliff Curtis does ruling these people. And again, learning about another culture was very... Cliff Curtis was also very good, but the son, the middle son, that the younger son in this family was my favorite new character. I found him to be very likable, very relatable. He has a very on and off kind of really hit or miss relationship with his father, Jake. Jake's very tough on him. Jake kind of at times acts like they're not a family. Sometimes they're just a unit. And that's where kind of Neytiri comes in to kind of make him come back to Earth, and they're a family. But this middle son you can see right here, he's really fantastic in the film. And he's kind of the main focus of the film, especially when we get to the sea people. He takes complete focus of the movie, which I was totally cool with. It's a very engaging new character that I thought was a great addition to this cast. Sigourney Weaver's also back. She's in a new role. Obviously, Grace died at the end of the first film, so I'm not gonna spoil why Sigourney Weaver's back and what role she has. But her role also adds a lot more to the lore of her and Stephen Lang's return add a lot more intrigue and lore to what they already set up, and it actually makes sense to the actual world that Cameron set up himself. So great new characters. There's also just for me a lot more emotion, and you just feel like the characters are in danger. It's not as story as James Cameron keeps talking about. This is a lot more story driven. It's definitely more story than it is world building compared to the first film. But I just feel like because you feel like the characters are in danger, the stakes are so much higher in this film than they are in the first film. And that's why I prefer this a lot more over the first film. So a couple negatives here. The first is that the second act drags a lot, and it's an okay second act, but it's kind of just, we're kind of lollygagging, not really doing anything for a good 30-45 minutes. And it's fun. It's beautiful to look at. That's why it's kind of an okay second act, because it's beautiful to look at, but the movie definitely drags in the second act. And the movie definitely does not need to be 3 hours and 12 minutes long. The first film was around 2:45, and that was also too long for that film. And this is definitely also too long for this movie. And again, this length of the rest of these films probably won't change because James Cameron's delivering huge box office, historic box office numbers for this franchise for Disney. Why would they tell him to stop doing what he's doing? Because he's bringing in everyone to the movie theater. I can't talk about the box office, but I do think from a critique point of view, it's fair to say this movie is definitely too long, but 20, 25 minutes too long. Especially maybe even 30 minutes, just too long. But really, you're here for the last hour of the movie. It's one of my favorite third acts in a while. It's a fantastic third act of the movie. The last hour is just phenomenal for this movie. But I said I would have liked a bit more Neytiri, and Neytiri and Jake's relationship isn't as is as important to the main storyline. I do feel like at times they needed to be, and they were kind of held back in the background a bit too much in the film. But overall, I thought this was a great step forward for this franchise and an improvement that gets me excited for the third film coming out in 2 years. So my thoughts on Avatar: The Way of Water are I'm going to give it a 4.5 out of 5. I'm going to go 86% for 87% for Avatar: The Way of Water. Compared to a 3.5, I gave this one a 4.5. So big improvement for me on this film. More reviews are coming, so please subscribe, ring the bell, and I'll see you guys soon.